Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/goblin. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Prices are going down dramatically, but the prices on the mats for making them is staying high. So right now, I mean, you can continue to make your sky golems if you want, but you're going to make a lot of gold selling the mats. Ghost Iron is going big time right now.
If only there was a podcast out there that could have foreseen that and told people about it so they could have prepared.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 16. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is a man who thinks putting something away for a rainy day means keeping an umbrella in his closet, my co-host, Mac, from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
I'm not worried about rain right now. It's it's a little colder now.
You got the snow going on, huh?
Last week it had a lot of snow, it had first dumping of snow, then it kind of melted, then turned to ice, so we're having fun. It's been in the teens in the morning when you're getting up, so yeah, winter's happened. And I heard you've been home playing Nurse Ratched this week.
Oh yeah, we're a day late recording the show. Normally we record on Wednesday nights late, and it's Thursday night late right now. I had a little boy who was very sick, and he decided to share his dinner with the entire carpet. So it was change of plans. We were getting ready to record, and we had to delay to tonight. So
nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody. Don't worry, I'll edit all that out.
I'm talking about nobody wants to hear. Anyways, yeah. Go ahead.
This week, Mac and I are going to be discussing how to make gold with battle pets, and how to use them to also move wealth around between the different realms. But first, let's talk a little bit about this past week. What were you up to, Mac?
Well, before we get into what I was up to, I did want to say thank you for everyone who responded last week. We asked about different people you'd like to hear us interview. We got some great ideas, people we'd been thinking of. We had some ideas for some people, or we got some ideas for people that we hadn't even considered. So we like to appreciate that. One of the listeners, same as, said, we're informative, but it'd be great to get a change now and again and get interjection from a different person or a different perspective to help the show and the whole community learn ways to apply new skills. So I thought that was great. Mm-hmm. We also had YepX from Twitter. He emailed us and let us know that, or asked how we stay motivated. How do you stay motivated to make gold?
Okay.
And well, I'll come right out.
I'll let you start.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I like having shiny things, but there is a time when the grind for making gold, it gets a little boring. So you got to go in and play the game a little bit. But again, there's always going to be things that you want. And if you set a goal, that's what I do. I set a goal. That's how I keep myself motivated. I set a goal, a short-term goal, a medium goal, and a long-term goal, and I go after those goals one after the other. That's what keeps me motivated. But again, when the grind of going after gold, say you're herbing or mining or what have you, becomes a little dry, take some time away. Go do something else. I mean, it's not all about making the gold. I know that's a sin.
Oh yeah. Well, no, but it's true. For myself, as I've mentioned before, I think when we did the hashtag 20 days of gold making, I kind of covered that a little bit about the short, medium, and long term goals, which are very important. But some of the things that I do, I always try to gauge and try to try to look at the ratio of how much time I'm spending making gold versus doing other fun things within the game. Like in your real world job, even if you have a career doing something that you really enjoy doing, if you don't take a vacation once in a while, you're going to burn out. I look at, what do I want the gold for? Is there something I'm working towards? Is it a numeral goal? Am I looking to hit a gold cap or something like that? Or is there something that I want to buy? I look at what my motivation for that is, and if I don't have something I'm really working toward, I'm not going to really sweat taking a couple of days off and just not doing anything to make gold, just to kind of take a break and make sure that I'm enjoying myself in game. So yeah, I mean, all of that really applies. But like as you said, goal making very important, and just knowing when you're starting to get burned out. If you start to feel like it's a chore every day, take a day off for no reason and just don't do it.
Yeah. He also left us a P.S. He said he does have his headless horseman mount like I do. How's that coming for you?
I was starting to like that guy till I heard that part of it. It's, you guys and your fancy headless horseman mounts, but it's not working out for me actually. This week for me, I went ahead and I've been hitting the halls and stuff every day, trying to get them out, and I've been coming up completely empty, and then finally the other day I got an 835 ring, which was actually an upgrade on the character I was on, and I guess that's better to kick in the teeth, but that's been it for me. No. I'm not likely going to get it. I have such bad luck with this thing. So
I finally beat the RNG monster and got my fishing artifact earlier today. So
yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
And that's another way you keep motivated. If you have a friend you can stay on Skype with, or another sort of voice chat, keep each other motivated while you're playing. Dex and I do that from time to time, even though we're on completely different schedules usually.
Yeah, but you don't do that to keep me motivated. You do that to kick me while I'm down. So don't. I don't know why you're fronting like that. We all know what it's all about.
All right, man.
So 7.1 dropped.
I was about to mention that.
What did you? Oh, okay. Well, what did you do in 7.1?
Well, 7.1 dropped, and you and I were talking. I mentioned that the blood vendor's up, and you go, and I think you realized at that point the 7.1 had dropped. And
I knew. I had all kinds of personal things at home going on that was kind of distracting me, and I wasn't thinking about it.
a little mental disjoint there for a second.
Right.
But I went to the blood vendor because I wanted to. I needed some garrison resources. Or not garrison, blood or
order hall resources.
Order hall resources.
Right.
There we go. So I went over and I had Blood of Sargeras coming out the wazoo, so I decided to go over there and trade a bunch of those in for some order hall resources. As I was turning them in, I don't know if this is intended, but I'm going to take advantage of it as long as it's in the game. They're supposed to give you 200 order hall resources. I think I turned in about 20 of them the first time, and I started clicking on them, and I told you, this can't be as intended. I'm getting 2, then 4, sometimes 600, and I was getting all this RNG where they were doubling and tripling the amount of order resources I was getting. That's easy for me to say, right? And I think you blamed me of having a little too much that night, and I said to test it out.
Well, you can't even say order hall resources, so I'm not really sure that your numbers were right. But yeah, when I tried it out, well, at first I wasn't sure if you were saying that was a cumulative amount that you were getting, or if it was from each one. But I was checking to see if it was a communication thing between the two of us. But when I tried it out, sure enough, I got the same thing. One of the things I didn't ask you, Mac, that I'm wondering about, the character that you were getting those on and getting those procs, was it an alchemist?
Yes.
Okay, mine is too, and I'm wondering if it's treating that the same way as like your potions where you get procs. Maybe there's some kind of glitch in the code. I'd be interested to hear from anybody else who's done it on a non-alchemist if they've had that happen.
I didn't check it on my Pally, and I think I've got about 100 blood on my Pally. I can test that out, and we'll report back next week.
Yeah, I mean, it just occurred to me just now. That's why I didn't mention it to you before.
I would have tested it out earlier if I thought about it.
It literally just occurred to me. I thought, you know what? I bet he has an alchemist that he did that with, but I might be off base. But at any rate, I do want to set the record straight. When we were talking about 7.1 on the show, where we were anticipating the drop of the patch, I had mentioned this blood trader vendor. And the order hall resources that you can trade for the blood of Sargeras. And I gave a little bit of misinformation. I don't know if it changed after the PTR or if I just had it wrong, but it's not tradable with, you can't put it on sale in the auction house or anything like that. It's account bound. So you can trade it among your own characters on your own account, but you can't sell them. So it's not obviously going to be a gold making method in that way, but it will work for getting a nice advantage on a fresh character that you just brought into Legion. And we all know that before the world quests open up, it's a little more limited on how much order hall resources you can get. Well, this changes that entirely.
Oh yeah.
You can have a new character going through, and you can load them up with order hall resources, and then use
your app while you're at work.
Yeah, use the app at work to your heart's content and not run out like so many people did. So yeah, that's been a good change. Because I haven't found any documentation of that proc anywhere that it's supposed to be there, I tend to believe that it was unintended. But it seems like it's either unintended or just undocumented. But I'm sure we'll find out soon.
I wasn't complaining.
No. But
another
no
thing
guarantee that it'll still be there, though.
Right. Another thing that they announced today is the concert at the end of BlizzCon is going to be Weird Al.
Right. I saw that. That's going to be awesome. I've actually seen him in concert twice, and he puts on a great show.
And so. I'm just kind of bummed I'm not going this year. Who'd have thought we'd have had a podcast where it would have been an advantage to have a BlizzCon?
Well, and we've already discussed this, and the plan is next year make a nice road trip out to BlizzCon and maybe even record a show while we're out there and have some fun with it. So that's kind of the plan.
Yep. We're planning on being there next year, and this year we'll have to do it through the virtual ticket. Oh, you'll do it through the virtual ticket. I'll be working the day it starts.
Right. And I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to watch live as it's going on. Some of it I might be watching as a recording later, but kind of play that by ear. But anything else in particular this week that you wanted to cover that you've done?
Well, we did have some confusion of some people asking about the Draenor garrisons, the starting new characters, boosting to 100, wanting to get on with Legion, but wanting to take advantage of the garrisons in Draenor, and asking if they have to do that initial quest series to get your garrison open. And you've done it a lot more times than I have, so I'll let you. There are multiple ways to do that.
Well, there are a couple of reasons why this would be important to somebody. If you made a demon hunter, then obviously you didn't probably go through any of this in Warlords because it was you couldn't make a demon hunter until right before launch. And so if you've got a demon hunter and you're wanting to make a garrison to make some gold and take advantage of that. Or even if you've got a quest line in Legion that's sending you back to Warlords, which that does happen, you might get frustrated, as some have done, and there are some misconceptions out there that you have to actually go through that. And I can say positively, you do not. Anybody who knows me and what I've done in Warlords knows that I have many characters that have garrisons, and I have only done the pre-quest one time, and that was on the first character. No one else ever went through that. Every other character I got there by other means. Let me cover a couple of the ways that you can do it. You can go obviously to outside of one of the dungeons in Warlords, and if you have 2 characters that can use the summoning stone outside the dungeon, they can summon you in from right there. You can be summoned in by a warlock as well. Probably the easiest way to get there is to find a friendly mage that will port you there. But if you don't, to port you to War Spear and to go from there. And if you have flying in Draenor like I do, once you're there, you just hop on your flying mount and fly wherever you need to go to. And if you don't have flying, bug somebody who has a 2-seater and has flying to fly you there. But if you don't have any of those means that I just mentioned to get there, there is one other way, and that's you go into Mists of Pandaria. There's the island there off the coast of Jade Forest,
Timeless Isle.
Your Timeless Isle, and off of the coast of the island there. There's an underwater cave that you can go into, and after you come out the cave, there's a campfire with a bunch of little chairs, and you sit in the chair and you click on the campfire, and it teleports you, I believe, to Gorgoran. I'm almost positive it's in Gorgoran. It'll port you in, and there's another campfire there with a bunch of seats. You can click back and forth between the 2 of those. So if you weren't aware of the transportation that way, you can save yourself 45 minutes to an hour or however long it takes you to do the starting quest for Warlords. You absolutely do not have to do it. Anyway, so that covers that. Was there anything else that you wanted to hit before we move on?
No, I want to say thank you to everybody that helped donate to Lucas.
Absolutely.
To his cause for that. For his lymphoma. He is now back in the hospital on his 4th round of chemo. He hasn't left state yet, but that is the plan, is for him to go out to Seattle Children's, I believe, and do a bone marrow transplant.
Yeah, but absolutely. Again, thank you for everybody who helped, and thanks to Ro for giving us a nice mention on Realm Maintenance that actually attracted a lot of people that took a look at that. Thanks so much for that. We've got a brief update about classic servers, and some people won't know what I'm talking about here, but if you've been eagerly waiting for something to replace Nostralis, it's a classic server that was started by some people. It was an illegal server, and they got kind of big, and Blizzard shut them down, and then brought them out to the Blizzard campus, and met with them and talked about I guess developing the code or setting up the code to have classic servers, and people were getting excited about that. A lot of people, including myself, were of the mind that the big reveal at BlizzCon this year for World of Warcraft was going to be we're having classic servers. Well, there was a community manager, Ornix, on Battle.net made a post about that speculation of the legacy servers, and I just want to read the post as he wrote it. I don't want to paraphrase anything. He says, "Hey everyone, we've seen some talk among the community that you might be expecting to hear some news on legacy servers at BlizzCon. And we just wanted to take a moment to let you know that while we're still discussing the possibility, we won't have any updates to share on that until after the show. These past few months, we've been laser focused on the launch of Legion and getting patch 7.1 Return to Karazhan ready to go. It's almost here, as well as prepping for BlizzCon, which is always a huge undertaking itself. You've heard us all say that the launch of Legion is just the beginning of the story, and we want to tell you in this expansion. What we will focus on on BlizzCon is how the team is committed to making sure we bring you a steady stream of content going forward, and we can't wait to share what's next for Legion. Thanks for your patience, and we'll see you at BlizzCon. J. Allen Brack, the World of Warcraft development team. Now, while this is depressing or discouraging rather to a lot of people, and while I'm not a big advocate for classic servers in WoW, I have seen what the results have been for them in a game that Mac and I used to play called EverQuest. They came out with classic servers that were immensely popular. And in fact, some would argue that it saved that franchise from going under at that time, because they were in real danger of their numbers falling to a level of becoming non-viable. I was a bit surprised, because that was my guess that would be the reveal. But based on what he just said, it seems to me that it's likely the reveal is going to be 7.2, because they said they want to concentrate on what's next for Legion at BlizzCon. So to me, that's 7.2 and probably more details on flying in the Broken Isles. And I'm guessing we're going to see that. I do want to say that if at some point they do have classic servers, which I anticipate that they will, you better believe we'll have at least one show talking about how you can make massive amounts of gold and on classic realms, because did that on EverQuest when they did that, and I got to tell you, there's some very unique opportunities to make gold when a game does that. When they take a step back, everything old is new again, and it's like Wrath of the Lich King. Can you say Serenite Shuffle again?
Right.
So things come back. So
it's just remembering how you made money back in vanilla and things like that. We were remembering back when we did the EverQuest, when they brought out the classic servers over there. We had a blast making.
Oh yeah,
Plat is over there, but
right, and their game tokens that they have over there are fully tradable among players, and so you can put them up for sale in their version of the auction house, and the price varies quite a bit, server to server and all that. And when I left that game, I had a massive stack of those. Of those tokens. I think I could play for the next 5 to 10 years, I think, worth of tokens. And just tons and tons of them. They became a currency that people would use to buy real high-end items. So yeah, it's there is some definite potential. And when you go back to the classic, a lot of things that people have long forgotten about that have been nerfed away ages ago that would be available again.
There we go.
So our main topic this week is making gold with battle pets. Mac and I have created and moved quite a bit of gold with battle pets. There's a whole lot of potential there, and it does have the unique quality of it's something that you can, without getting a server transfer or anything like that, it's a way for you to move gold to a realm that you have nothing on.
Well, when we first came back and we had the idea for the podcast, let's see how much gold I can make on a brand new server, and that was one of the things we did initially to make my initial gold. Is I had some old characters with some old battle pets and moved them over.
Right. And, first thing I wanted to cover to talk about which battle pets to sell. Because if you're looking at the battle pets that we have in this, there are hundreds and hundreds of different battle pets that you can get. Some are cageable and some are not. And if a battle pet is not cageable, which, just your random critters that you see, throughout the world that you can go and tame, those or that you can capture rather, those are not tradable. Ones that are the result of a quest sometimes, or ones that drop off of mobs,
or BlizzCon gift,
Well, no, I think the BlizzCon gifts are usually not tradable. But
that's what I'm saying. Those are the ones that aren't tradable. Yeah.
Yeah, but like the trading card game, things like that, archaeology, those are all tradable. To talk about the ones that are good to sell, there are some, they're not all created equally. Some pets that you can get that are tradable do not sell for very much at all. And wanted to talk about the different categories. The categories that you want to watch for, or the ones from the trading card game, they have a lot of value. Ones that you get in archaeology, anything from like a limited time release, or also crafted or discontinued drops. Trying to think, what's the discontinued one that we had a bunch of?
Or you're talking about the Sprite Darter hatchling?
Yeah, Sprite Darter hatchling.
It's still supposedly available. It's like a 1 in 8,000 drop in Feralis, but I can't get anything to drop anymore.
Insanely rare, and back when you could get it easily, I had 3 in my saved in my character. So, I ended up selling those and generating a bunch of gold when they became cageable. Just to cover some of the ones that are valuable that you want to look into buying and selling. Bananas the Monkey, Dragon Kite, Eye of the Legion, the Gregarious Grell, Gustling Grimoire, Hippogriff Hatchling, and Landro's Lichling, and Landro's Lilex T. There's also Spectral Tiger Cub, Tuskar Kite. There's a bunch of them. Off the top of my head, I'm not going to remember all of the different ones from the trading card game, but there are a bunch there. For archaeology, you've got Ancient Nest Guardian, Clockwork Gnome. Crawling Claw is one that I have sold many times. And there's Fossilized Hatchling, which I haven't had yet. There's also the limited time, like Hate Spark the Tiny is huge. That one, I bought and sold a lot of those. That was a limited time drop from a temporary raid, and that one has held its value, very well. Those are kind of the ones that you want to keep an eye out for, but you'll want to go to the Undermine Journal and kind of take a look and search under the different battle pets and see which ones are selling on average for your realms, selling for a decent amount of gold.
Speaking of the Undermine Journal, we did have somebody ask that question: is how to look through data without looking through the TSM database or making spreadsheets. How to find out the prices of things on different realms, and the UndermineJournal.com, they'll go realm by realm what things are selling for. So that's a great way to check out the price of the battle pets on different servers.
Yeah, the Undermine Journal is key. And as a matter of fact, for what we're talking about with making gold with battle pets, if you don't make use of the Undermine Journal, you're going to have a tough road of it, I think, to do well with this, at least to see the potential. First thing, when you're looking at selling these, the question comes up, do I sell them at level 1 or do I level them to 25? And if your way to level them to 25 was, the old-fashioned way of slowly going up through the levels, I would say in most cases the answer would be no, you wouldn't want to do that. In some cases, if you check, you check the auction house, and there's not much of a difference in price between what people are selling the level 1 and the level 25, then obviously, not worth your time. But you have a couple of options. There's that quest that you get from your level 3 garrison when you first set up your menagerie in there. Every character that you do that with, you've got a very short quest where you run over by your mine, pick up this little stone and turn it in, and you get an epic stone that will turn your any pet into a level 25. So that's one way that you can do it. Those are not tradable, so you can't buy those stones on the auction house or anything like that.
Yeah, fortunately, the pets are tradable.
Right. But I mean, as far as if you want to make one instantly level 25, and you don't have any stones on one of your characters, then the next thing that you can do is you can power level through the different trainers throughout the world. And I know in Mists of Pandaria, the trainers out there, there are a few that can make it very quick. Also in Warlords of Draenor, if you have flying to run around to those, it can be very quick. And the secret is you get a couple of level 25 battle pets that are your battle pets, that not ones that you're necessarily selling, that are overpowered for the battle. So if you know anything about pet battling, one type of battle pet is superior to another. Like I believe beasts are superior to critters. They get increased power when they're fighting critters. They each have something that they're more powerful than, and another one that they're less powerful than. So you find two that match up really well for the fight, and then you add your pet that you want to power level into the group as well. And you, at a safe point, you bring that pet in for one round, and then if it doesn't die, you then tuck it back in and bring in a new one, and then if you win the total battle, it'll get a ton of experience and it'll ding up several levels in one fight. Within 3 or 4 fights, you can go from level 1 to level 25 that way. And it's very quick. I've done it quite a bit back in the past, and I know there are even more ways to do it now than back when I did it. But first you want to see if it's even worth doing it for the particular pet. I've had some that I've leveled and sold, and some that I haven't. So you want to figure that out. The next thing is an add-on that is a must-have if you're going to try to make gold with battle pets, and it's called BattleTet Breed ID. For somebody that's the uninitiated that hasn't really dealt with battle pets, you might not know this, but there's a hidden breed of your pet that you don't normally see unless you have an add-on that reveals that. And there are a couple of add-ons that do it, but you can see 2 pets, like for instance, you can see 2 Gilnean ravens in the auction house, and you'll see one that'll be a couple hundred gold, and then you'll see another one that's several thousand gold. And you might ask yourself, well, what's the difference? At the same level, they look like the same pet. And one will be the common one that you can buy from the vendor right now, and the other one will be a discontinued breed that's no longer made. They will have designations for speed or for power, things like that. And so this tells you which one is which, and without it, there's no way to tell. So you can tell if you're buying something that's rare and discontinued, or something that's very common that you could just go buy from a vendor in a case like that. Very important to have that. The next thing I wanted to cover is moving pets. Getting gold from moving them to other realms. Obviously, you can buy pets when you see them priced low, and then resell them on the same realm. But you're not really taking advantage of a built-in aspect to battle pets for making gold, and that's being able to move them to another realm by caging them. You learn them, and then you go to another character that you create a brand new level 1 on another realm or whatever, pop in, bring up the pet, cage it, and you can put it on the auction house as long as you've got the silvers to cover the the posting cost, right? But that's an awesome way to expand your empire. Or if you just want to play on another realm, you've got a friend on another realm and you want to play with them a little bit, but you don't want to be without any gold, it's a quick way to get an infusion of gold.
And there are some servers where certain things sell high, some where they sell low, and it's using the Undermine Journal and things like that, you can find those.
It really surprises me that this is true, but it is. On an item that you can freely move from realm to realm to realm, you will see massive differences in price on battle pets. It doesn't make any sense to me that you can see a battle pet for 20k on one realm and 80k on another one, but you can. And it's just it's fascinating to me because
it's the perception on the one realm where they see a lot of them being sold for like 80K.
Yeah.
And the other realm where they see it priced real low, we see the same thing when selling Ghost Iron.
Well, but with Ghost Iron, you can't move it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
That's what I'm saying. You cannot move the Ghost Iron. You can't move these mounts, okay, but that are going for a lot. But these battle pets, the rarity is an illusion, because what you see through, like for instance, for North American Realms, when I see the total that's for North American Realms, that's the total that's available on each and every realm, because anybody could make a brand new level 1 character and cage that pet and sell it on a different realm. Now, some people won't want to do that because they would say, well, why do I want gold on this realm that I don't play on? So I can see where that can happen. But when you're using the Undermine Journal, you can take a look and you can compare. Like, and this is kind of an interesting way that I look at it. There's a such thing that I call market triangles, and anybody who's done any forex trading, which is you're trading currency types. So you might have the British pound, and you might have the U.S. dollar and the Japanese yen, or what have you. And people will create they make trading pairs for these currencies, but they don't just trade. You don't just trade from the U.S. dollar to the yen, back to the U.S. dollar, back to the yen, back and forth like that. You're probably going to lose a ton of money if you try to trade that way, because you're trading on what the value difference is between the two, and it's a fluctuating thing, right? Well, what they do is they will pick 3 currencies a lot of times, and they will go from A to B to C to back to A, okay? And this is how they move the money around, and if they can create profitable pairs along the way, it's a money-making venture. Now, I'm not advocating forex trading because it's one of the easiest ways to lose your ass, but the idea behind it works. And when we're talking about gold, I mean, what are we really risking here, guys? So for instance, to give you a for instance on that, let's say that let's go with where my main presences are right now. I mean, I'm on I have a presence on Whisperwind, and on Dalaran, and on Demon Soul. And when I say a presence, I mean I have a significant gold presence on those 3. So let's say that I've got a Hate Spark the Tiny, and I've got it on Demon Soul, and it's selling on Whisperwind for 20K more than what it is on Demon Soul. I can buy it on Demon Soul, and then cage it and sell it on Whisperwind, and now I've gained 20K. But let's say that I don't want any money on Whisperwind anyway, and I want to get that gold back to Demon Soul. And so now I look at, okay, what's on Whisperwind that I can buy that will sell, what battle pet that'll sell for more on Demon Soul? Well, I might not find one. Because if there's an obvious back and forth between those two, there are a lot of sharp people out there that are gold makers, trust me, that are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to be utilizing that market. But when you go to the triangle and see, now you go from Whisperwind to Dalaran, you can find another battle pet that you can go between those two, and then a third one that you can go from Dalaran back to Demon Soul, as just for instance. And so you can research your realms and see where you're at on that. And even on a realm that you don't really have any desire to have any gold on, you can get all that gold cycled back to your original spot where you started, and you're just turning gold. You're making gold out of thin air, basically, by moving these battle pets around. Now, this is not theory. This is something that I have utilized to make a lot of gold. So definitely not something I'm just theorizing about. It exists, and there are a few of us that do it. So just a heads up, if you've got gold already, this is obviously one of those things, we're talking about battle pets that are selling for thousands of gold for it to be worth it. So if you're dead broke and you're trying to get your start, this is not the thing that's going to be for you. But if you've already got your nest egg built up and you're wanting to take things to the next level, battle pets are an awesome way to do that. Anything more you want to say about that part of it, Mac?
No, I've taken full advantage of the battle pets. Came back, had gold on, or had battle pet. Was battle pet heavy on some old characters, was cash poor on another server, and was able to move gold very quickly that way. And within a week, I had a pretty good nest egg over when I started on Dalaran.
And it's a great way to make gold, but there is a caveat that I'd like to cover, and that's unfortunately when if you're talking about rare mounts, trading card game mounts, or if you're talking about rare battle pets, especially the trading card game ones, duping is a thing. Blizzard has denied it for a long time that it exists. Recently, a couple of employees of Blizzard have actually admitted that it exists. But at any rate, trust me, duping definitely exists, and you want to be careful and not buy duped battle pets if you can help it. And you can usually tell. And if you see somebody selling a whole bunch of rare ones and they're auctioning all day long in trade chat trying to sell them, they're probably duped. If they're like, 50% of the normal price they go for, and they just happen to have 8 of them that they're selling together that are all rare pets,
right?
That stinks to high heaven. And I've seen it many times. And here's the problem. A lot of people will say this, and I believe this to be true, and I can't confirm it for sure, but what I believe to be true is that a lot of times when they dupe these pets, they can't sell them on the auction house. It doesn't work. And so I don't know if it's something to do with that they were never caged because they were duped, or how. I don't know how. I don't know why that is. Just speculating. But the best advice I could give you on that, if you see somebody selling one cheap and you want to take advantage of it and they're offering it through trade, tell them you'll buy it, but they need to put it in the auction house. Tell them to put it up for auction and that you will buy it, and that you will, to put it up for 105% of the price that they were looking to do. So if it's 100,000 gold pet, for instance, for easy math, tell them to put it up for 105,000, and that way, when the auction house cut kicks in, they still get the price that they were wanting for it, the 100,000. So they don't lose anything. You pay 5% extra, but you also get a sense of better security that you're getting something legitimate that isn't going to be removed from your inventory and you be out the gold, because that does happen. So be aware and be careful of that. And if it is a duped pet, they will most certainly refuse to put it for sale in the auction house. They won't do it. So that's one way to tell about that. And if you buy a whole bunch of battle pets from somebody who duped them and then you turn around and sell them, you can get banned. And even if you're buying them legitimately, the argument has been made before that, before you get a nice little vacation from the game, they will tell you, well, you bought and sold 30 of them. You kind of knew that it was duped. You were aware. So be careful of that. And, there's plenty of gold to be made by buying legitimate ones. And also when duped ones hit the market, legitimate ones drop in price like crazy to try to compete, and that's what you should do. So when they're being duped, buy some legitimate ones at a greatly reduced price, because the duped ones will eventually be eliminated and the prices will rise back up, and it'll be a nice investment that will pay off for you. And if you have the battle pets, when somebody starts duping them, take them off the market and stop selling them, because the price is going to drop. And you'll just lose gold. Just be patient and wait it out.
this isn't in regards to battle pets. I know we were kind of finishing up on that, but speaking of prices dropping, last podcast we mentioned that the Sky Golem makers were going to start hitting very soon, and we're seeing it on every realm I've been on. They're starting to drop. Prices are going down dramatically, but the prices on the mats for making them is staying high. So right now, I mean, you can continue to make your Sky Golems if you want, but you're going to make a lot of gold selling the mats. Ghost Iron is going big time right now.
If only there was a podcast out there that could have foreseen that and told people about it so they could have prepared.
Yeah.
But anyway, to summarize about the battle pets, though, even if it's not your preferred method to make gold, it is definitely the best way to move gold.
Definitely.
So if you don't want to make gold that way, don't forget that you can move gold that way. So if you're thinking about making a move to another realm, but you're really thinking about, I'll just start over and make a new character over there, or, I will, whatever, make a demon hunter so I can start at a high level, but I want to have some gold to start. You don't have to do a character transfer just to get gold over there. You can just buy one of the higher priced pets and move it over and sell it, and there's your nest egg. I know of what I speak. That's what I did to get started on Dalaran. Yeah, I had nothing on Dalaran, and I joined Mac over there. First thing I did was I grabbed a couple of battle pets, moved them over, and sold them, and then I was ready to go. Well, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's show. Why don't we tell everybody how they can get in contact with us?
Oh, you can get a hold of us at Mac, that's MAC, at Goblin Goldcast. We're at Goblin Goldcast on Twitter, or you can find us on Facebook.
And don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail on our website, goblingoldcast.com, and please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
You got goblins on your side. Nothing can go wrong.